Harding. Welcome to my blog.stampwithelaine.com. I promised to show you how I made these mini Daisy Delight cards sized to fit perfectly into this little crate box. And the beauty of these mini cards is that you can make a little go a very long way. Using thick Whisper White cardstock, you need scraps of standard Whisper White and some Daffodil Delight for the mats, and these have been cut at 2.5-inch square, which is 6.35 centimeters by 6.35 centimeters. Using the whole sheet of A4, and if you cut it at 6 inches, so you just cut off this little bit, and then you can get 3 cards out of this. 1, 2, 3. Now this one is a little bit short. With the leftover piece, this is 2 3/4, so you could make a smaller card, and so 2 3/4 multiplied by 2 is 5.5. So therefore you score that at 2 3/4, this time with your grey blade, and that will give you a smaller card. And then you score these all at 3 inches with the long side on top. And you have this piece left over which measures 2 1/4 inches, so that will be your mat on top of the Daffodil Delight. So let's cut that and see how many we get out of it. The only bit of waste you have from that A4 sheet is just this little bit. Let's recap. Just to make one card, you need to cut your cardstock 3 inches by 6 inches and score at 3 inches on the long side. In centimeters, that's 7.6 by 15.2. With the long side on top, you score at 7.6. You need a Daffodil Delight mat that's been cut at 2.5 by 2.5 inches. That's 6.35 by 6.35 in centimeters. And then the Whisper White mat at 2 1/4 inches by 2 1/4 inches, which is 5.7 by 5.7, and that goes on top. We'll need the Daisy Delight and Daisy Punch. Now these can be bought as a bundle to save you 10%. I also use the sentiments from Eastern Beauty. This is the from the Eastern Palace suite, and the words are just right for tiny little cards like that. A D block and an A block. That's the beauty of photopolymer stamps. I actually chopped the sentiment in half, the thank you, so that I could have the words running in a line this way. But then it's really easy to put back together if you want the words underneath each other as it was originally intended. So all you have to do is just pop it back on the block, and it's just as the original. Daffodil Delight, Old Olive and Night of Navy Delightful Daisy designer series paper. There are 12 sheets in a pack, 2 each of double-sided designs, and they are just gorgeous. And that's what they look like on the other side. I use this pattern and just cut a 3-inch by 12-inch strip. And this is what I've got left over from doing this lot of mini cards. What you want to do is you cut that a 3-inch square off, and then you cut that again at 1.5. to make 4 1.5-inch squares. And these gorgeous gold faceted gems. There are 72 in a pack, 24 each in 3 sizes. So there's the large, medium and small. As we're working with photopolymer, we'll need a foam pack to stamp with. Just a tip, if you're mounting your daisy, then make sure when you mount your daisy that the petals are pointing north and south on your block, because orient it so that it's in the same direction as your punch. It then makes it a lot easier to punch. I'm going to stamp Daffodil Delight Daisy, then punch it out with a punch. Punch that out. Then I'm going to take my punch and insert the cardstock so that the corner of the cardstock is flush with the petals on the bottom and to the right. You want a little bit of cardstock left with which to glue the edges. Put this layer behind the punched out piece, so you want to put a bit of Tombow on the back of this cardstock. And manoeuvre it so that the edges of the paper is flush with the edges of that. Okay, then you're ready to mount that. Add a bit more glue, mount that on your Daffodil Delight cardstock. So all that's left to do is pop faceted gem on there, glue it to your card front, change to Night of Navy, ink up your stamp, it says thank you. That's a card done. To make this one, you punch out your aperture as normal, so line it up with the bottom petal here and the bottom of the 2 petals there. Punch, and then on the opposite corner ink up your stamp in the Daffodil Delight again, and because it's photopolymer you can see exactly where you're stamping. Stamp it so there's a quarter of that, like so. Add a bit of dollop of glue there and use this daisy that you punched out and sort of orient it on there, and then cut off the excess. And just use a bone folder to curl that bit up. Apply Tombow so you can attach this paper to it. I'm going to use this little stamp here and change ink pads and stamp the centre of the flower here, like so. Grab another gem, pop it there and stamp thank you here. Stamp that crooked so I can fix that and stamp it again on a spare piece of paper. Stamp that crooked, and you can fix that by stamping it again and then just creating a tab and raise it up on dimensionals. So I've just popped some dimensionals on the back and just glue it there, and then glue this to the Daffodil Delight piece. And finally onto the front of the card. Inside of the card I use the leaf images. This is a two-step stamping method, but I'm only going to use the one ink pad each for the leaf and the flower. So let's do the leaves first. This is Old Olive. I've mounted it on an A block, and to do the solid image I'll stamp off once, and then with the outline I stamp directly onto the cardstock. I'm changing ink pads to Daffodil Delight, and same principle, stamp solid image first, so I stamp that off, stamp on, and now with the outline image I stamp directly from ink pad to cardstock, and there you have it. You can orient your punch outs in any direction, on that corner, that one or that one, as I've done in these cards, just to give a bit of variety but staying within the same theme. So I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe or share on Facebook, and my grateful thanks if you do. If you're watching from YouTube, you'll find the list of supplies I use below this video in the Show More section, with direct links to my online store. They'll also be listed on my blog here at blog.stampwithelaine.com. You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest or Instagram. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye!